America mourns the loss of Charlie Kirk. I'll be doing a few more videos and just mention him in each one. I recorded this video making fun of Kamala Harris's new book right before I heard the news about Charlie Kirk. So it might seem like the tone is a little off, but I do want to present this video to you with remembering, Trump might not have won without Charlie Kirk. Trump might not have won without Charlie Kirk. He uniquely is the largest under 35 mobilizer of youth for elections in recent history. And that's one of the large demographics that changed and moved for Trump. So Charlie Kirk is part of what helped us dodge the evil bullet, that is Kamala Harris. The Democrat Party is in shambles. It is now the party of hate. It is laughable to think that anyone would join or vote for that party. We're going to get into some of that in more videos today. Y'all have courage. We practice repentance and we have faith in God. This is not a time. Don't let your emotions have you make a mistake. I tell my son, because sometimes we practice rage, and it's when you're the most emotional you have to practice the skill of the discipline of emotions make terrible masters and great servants. How's that? The title of the book should be called Landfill, because it's not going to stand the test of history. No one's going to care about this book in 48 hours. But anytime I can get in my monster truck and pop a wheelie and mow over Kamala Harris's reputation in all 13 gears, I'm going to do it. Welcome to In Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. Let's check in on Kamala Harris.
Proved intractable for Democratic and Republican administrations alike. It was an issue that absolutely demanded bipartisan cooperation, except fact check, it didn't. Let's take a look at the wall.
So she's blaming her campaign's main failure, which we predicted this, by the way, is on the wall, over the wall. And she's blaming that they needed bipartisan, laws to be made, implying that it was Trump's fault, the Republicans' fault. They needed them to help get the wall made. She could have done it all by herself. Democrats could have done it all by themselves. Trump went in and did it just with presidential orders. So her excuse doesn't hold water.
The last year of President Biden, 1.14 million border crossings. The first year of President Trump, he didn't get bipartisan cooperation. It wasn't intractable. Look at that. They magically descend to 125,000. It wasn't intractable. It was a matter of leadership. And just that Kamala Harris blamed it on someone else proved that she is unworthy and inadequate of leading this country because she's not a problem solver. Trump doesn't even care if it's legal and he's going to do it. That's how big of a leader he is. He's like, I'm here to end crime. I'm here to solve the border. And he's not sitting there asking for permission. And Democrats are all cowards looking at each other going, who's going to lead us? Who's going to take responsibility for this? Here's Clay Travis. Kamala Harris says in her new book that Joe Biden running for election was reckless and shouldn't have happened. So this is the big quote from her book. I'm going to read it here. This is from theatlantic.com. And of all people in the White House, I was in the worst position to make the case that he should drop out. She's making excuses on why she didn't make the case back on The View that Biden should drop out. I knew it would come off to him as incredibly self-serving if I advised him not to run. Doesn't Kamala Harris just seem so selfless? She's so humble. She's so thinking of other people. If she merely thought of the country and wanted to spare a bullet, she would have dropped out to spare us her. He would see it as naked ambition. Very weird, because if I went up to a friend and said, look, you need to back out because you're senile, they would not accuse me of naked ambition. So it shows that she and Joe did not have a relationship of trust. Perhaps as poisonous disloyalty, he would see it as, even if my only message was, don't let the other guy win. So this already is projecting onto Biden that if she said you shouldn't run, he would see it. He's like, this is poisonous disloyalty. You will be loyal. Quote, it's Joe and Jill's decision, unquote, she said. We all said that like a mantra.
Yeah, like a weird cult religion is what your mantra is, as if we'd all been hypnotized. Now, that is a weird choice of words. As if we'd all been hypnotized into saying it's Joe and Jill's decision. I don't know about hypnosis, but certainly cult-like behavior and groupthink. They all think alike. And this is why you lose. This is why you deserve to lose, because you're even incapable of making your own decisions when it would benefit your own career or your country. If you believed in yourself enough, you don't say it's up to Joe and Jill. Was it grace or was it recklessness? This is so funny. It's two different options. It's either grace or recklessness. And she actually believes that she might have grace on the table, like could actually be one of the choices. Or was it recklessness? In retrospect, I think it was recklessness. Well, I think we can all agree that if it's Kamala Harris, it certainly couldn't have been grace. Good move, Kamala. The stakes were simply too high. This wasn't a choice that should have been left to an individual's ego, an individual's ambition. It should have been more than a personal decision. You know, this is such word salad. I actually couldn't believe, because these actually have a pretty normal sentence structure. They go, it doesn't sound like the way Kamala Harris writes. I'm pretty sure it's a ghost writer writing this thing for her. But actually the sentiment and ideas in these paragraphs are so dumb, vapid, and not grounded in logic, values, any virtue, that maybe I'm starting to think that she did write it. Maybe she just had a very good editor. Here she is on all of the crimes that she would remove, the kinds of crimes like bond and stuff she would remove, which is partially why she would have continued the policies that got that Ukrainian girl stabbed and killed on a train. Listen to her big policies. Remember this.
We will eliminate the death penalty. We will eliminate private prisons, eliminate cash bail. I've been a leader on that in the United States Senate.
How can you brag about that? Eliminating cash bail. Now, she's going to give you the argument for it, saying it's unfair. But basically, no criminal has to pay for anything, and they can just skate. That's what happened to them. That's what Democrats do. They let them out. No cash bail.
Cash bail is not only a criminal justice issue, it's an economic justice issue, meaning people are sitting in jail because they don't have the money to get out. Meanwhile,
No, wait. They're not sitting in jail because they don't have the money to get out. They're sitting in jail because they beat their wives, because they abuse children. They're in jail because they carjack innocent people, old people terrified in their homes. They go in, beat them, take their jewelry, and leave. That's why they're in jail. Secondarily comes the cost. But the real move is, which this will never fall out of her dumb head. If you don't want to go to jail, don't smack your wife around, if they're even married. Don't smack your children around. How about that? Okay, but wait, there's more. Here's Caroline Leavitt laying into her Kamala Harris pretty heavy on her Democrats pro-crime stand.
In shoplifting, Brown had previously served 5 years in prison for a robbery with a deadly weapon charge, and he had also forfeited bonds 3 different times, twice in 2014 and once in 2023.
That's Kamala Harris's no cash, no bond.
Despite all of this past documented criminal history, when Brown was arrested yet again in January of this past year, a Democrat judge, who I will add was a strong supporter of former Vice President Kamala Harris.
These are the kinds of judges that let these lunatics go to stab and kill these innocent Americans. Innocent people are killed by Kamala Harris supporters, Democrats. That's why we never put an X next to a Democrat. It's like slitting your own throat. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? In my entire voting time since I started voting in 1984 was my first vote where I voted for Reagan. I have never once put an X next to a Democrat.
Released this insane criminal once again without requiring him to pay any bail.
Yeah, no cash bail. That's still the Democrats' big stand. We're going to end it. They want more of this crime. Let's get back to Kamala Harris's brilliant book. Let me set aside all of these lesser books, the Bible, Aristotle, G.K. Chesterton. We'll just set all of them aside for a second to get some real wisdom. Move over, Job. I wanted to get that good news out, but the White House staff stalled. Not yet. We need more data, they said. The story remained untold. Instead, I shouldered the blame for the porous border. Kamala, you were the czar. You had Tom Homan's position. I shouldered the blame for the porous border, so you admit that it's wrong to have an open border? An issue that had proved intractable for Democratic and Republican administrations alike. Even the breathtaking cruelty of Trump's family separation policy. Trump wasn't there to close the border. He was there to separate families. Kamala Harris calls it the family separation policy. And Democrats are the one defending the kids that were sent over here, and we want to mail them back to their parents. And Democrats are going, no, keep the family separated. Keep them here. This is such a load of Kamala Harris. Even the breathtaking cruelty of Trump's family separation policy hadn't deterred the desperate. It was an issue that absolutely demanded bipartisan cooperation at an impossibly partisan, uncooperative time. Who was uncooperative of closing the border? Democrats. Who is divisive on that issue, on letting illegals in? Democrats. So it wasn't bipartisan. You dingbat, you low IQ, human resources diversity hire. It was not bipartisan cooperation that it was divisive. It was Democrats were the only ones that were against it. No one around the president advocated, give her something she can win with. She just needed something to win with, guys. How about a lobotomy or even a heart transplant, Kamala? That might have helped you one. Here's more. I also called on Israel for greater access to aid. It was a speech that had been vetted and approved by the White House, blaming them, and the National Security Council. It went viral, and the West Wing was displeased. I was castigated for apparently delivering it too well. Kamala was too impressive with her speeches that it bothered the White House. Their thinking was zero-sum game. If she's shining, he's dimmed. None of them grasped that if I did well, he did well. Oh, you're such a brilliant strategist. She's not playing four-dimensional chess. She's playing interdimensional go fish. Such vapid, so ding battery. We dodged a bullet. Wait, there's more. Here's NBC News. On the kinds of the values of the people that voted for Kamala Harris versus the ones that voted for Trump. Here's males who voted for Trump. They were allowed to pick 3 top concerns. Males who voted for Trump, the number one concern, even over having a job or career. Number one, up at the top there, having children. Number one, males who voted for Trump. In case you're going to impugn their character and say how terrible they are, we who voted for Trump, we men, and I have mostly men in my audience, about 70% men, 30% females. The men in my audience, even if you didn't have children, you wished you had children. Democrats wish they didn't have children. They see children as punishment. They're like, I don't want to get, as Obama said, stuck with a child. Number 4 on the list for males who voted for Trump is being married. Females who voted for Trump down here, having children, being married is farther down. By the way, ladies, get that up in number 1 and number 2 if you want to live a happy life. Having children, being married, number 1 and number 2. You have a great career, congratulations. Your ovaries are dry, you have no offspring. Men, you have no legacy. Fine, you can buy a boat. Go buy a boat. You happy with your boat? Does your boat clean your diaper out in your retirement when you're sitting in bed? When I'm sitting in bed, paralyzed, in old age, just laying there in bed, in the end, is my successful career going to be there to bring me comfort? Or will not my 4 children is my dream, or the beloved Miss Tenaple, to be around me and just usher me to the other side as I shed the mortal coil? I want my loved ones. That's my legacy. Now let's look at the female. This is males voted for Harris, which is the same thing as a female that votes for Harris, frankly. They put being married way down here at number 9. They put having children down at number 10. Females who voted for Harris, way down at the bottom is being married, and number 12 last is having children. That's why they're for killing them in the womb. They hate children. Kamala Harris voters, that's her whole constituency. Wait, here's more from her book. Kamala Harris said she did a good job on the border. Why? She got enthusiastic partners such as MasterCard, Microsoft, and Nespresso to help get internet connections for people in Central America. How is that even part of your campaign strategy? You dingbat. No wonder why thank God you lost. Few have asked how Dems picked such an idiot to be VP and then the Democratic nominee. Democrats deserve this because number 1, it was dumb to make her the vice president. But then to run her for president, never let a Democrat near power, guys, or responsibility They will get all of us killed. Here's Brad Palumbo. Sorry, but Kamala Harris cannot credibly complain about being called a DEI hire when she, one, enthusiastically supports DEI and equity initiatives that involve differential treatment. Number two, was selected as VP specifically because of her race and gender. So she's claiming she resents being a DEI hire. But all I heard was she was a black female. First black female, everything, blah, blah. She's pro-DEI. So this is from the Atlantic article. When Fox News attacked me, look at her, she's just crying, whining. When Fox News attacked me on everything from my laugh, that's a pretty easy attack to make, to my tone of voice, and they're kind of the same thing, your laugh and your tone of voice, is a grating cackle that drives human beings crazy. In fact, dogs 4 miles away also start turning their head every time she talks. To my tone of voice, to whom I dated in my 20s or claimed I was a DEI hire. Yes, you were a DEI hire. If you were white, you would not have gotten that position. The White House rarely pushed back. Biden didn't defend you enough. With my actual resume, 2 terms elected DA, top cop in the second largest department in the United States, senator representing 1 in 8 Americans. That's California, where you actually have to be bat caca insane to win. And then finally, here's RFK Jr. just reminding us, I just thought this was a cute clip. It's a minute long, where he rips on Bill Gates for funding the Kamala Harris campaign.
One of the telling things that happened this week is that Bill Gates made his first political contribution in history. He gave $50 million to Kamala Harris. Now, do you think he did that because out of a patriotic impulse?
Hell no. So this is one of the smartest men, Bill Gates. Basically invented the personal computer. He helped fund my first company at the Neverhood, by the way, which I did with DreamWorks, and that was released through Microsoft. But for being smart, one of the dumbest guys in the world, he flushed $50 million down the Kamala toilet. I always like it when Democrats waste their money on Democrat politics and they lose. Makes me happy that money got ground up and vanished and they have nothing to show for it. Meanwhile, I made contributions, I think $3,000 to Trump. You guys helped fund me and I helped give that money to him. Our money has an excellent return. So Bill Gates, you shouldn't just sit by Trump trying to kiss up to him at the White House. You should call people like me. I would have helped you out, helped you point that money where it would have done some good instead of trying to get profound evil elected to be president of the United States and destroy us all. I'm Doug, In Exile. Subscribe.